Hello, PonyFest. So, we're just gonna mess around and animate stuff. That's the
Talk
plan.
about stuff.
And talk about stuff.
Should we introduce ourselves, or
That would probably be good.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I'm already talking, so I guess I'll go first. Hi, I'm CaptainHoers. You may remember me from such horse animations as Spitfire's Day Off,
I'm already
and
talking, so I guess
that
I'll
thing
go
from
first.
Buck,
Hi, I'm...
with the Owl City song, and some other cyberpunk things. Today, I don't actually have anything planned animation-wise, so I'm just going to be doing something for fun. I made a bunch of space horses recently, so I'm going to be animating a space horse, just kind of hanging around in space. Who wants to go now?
Oh, I'm
Alright.
Minty Root.
Yeah,
You
Minty
might
Root.
know me for animations such as Luna's Determination, The Fall of Sunset Shimmer, and I'm not proud of anything else, besides maybe Good Morning Baltimore. Today I'll just do some compositing. It's not really animating characters, but a lot of the feel of a scene comes just the way it's lit, the way it's colored, the way it's framed. I'm gonna cover it up a bit. Also, it's a bit faster than just animating characters because I'm really slow at it. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today.
I'm Hyperdash. I haven't done anything impressive at all, but I organized the Solidarity Multiple Animator Project music video. I've done other stuff, and that's it, I guess.
I'm NekoSnicker. I'm mostly an artist. You probably, if you do know me, it's probably from the art, but I've been dabbling in animation recently. I did make a short Rainbow Dash animation like 2 weeks ago. Nothing super impressive. And today I'm just going to be doing some simple puppet animation that you see right here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
everyone.
That's the
fun.
crew. That's the cast. Okay, let's see. I've got the chat open. People are definitely saying things in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't have the Twitch chat open. I just
No,
have
the
Discord
Twitch.
chat
The
open.
Twitch chat is dead. Don't go to the Twitch chat. No one's in the Twitch chat.
Twitch does not exist. Is there a Twitch chat? I don't know if there's a Twitch chat.
There is,
Maybe.
but no one's in it because they haven't.
I
logged.
believe it's all through Discord.
Yeah, so it's just through Discord.
Okay.
And
Hey, Yuki! I was thinking Yuki would be a night owl like me, but apparently not.
I'm just right now. I'm just in betweening and working on this old animation study that I was doing of a Pegasus flying.
So I got most of my layers. Oh, I say most, but where's two?
Oh, hey,
Leon.
Yuki. Okay, people are talking about something.
I mean, there's people talking about the previous thing.
Oh,
so-
you're right. Okay, I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
is this just like a random history discussion just happening in the chat? Like,
No, that was the people who were on last.
okay, yeah, no, that's totally.
I
fair.
see. That makes sense.
It's fine.
It's like there's nothing wrong with that. I just was very confused.
So just a little bit about the what I'm doing here. This is a piece of software called TV Paint. It's basically, if you've seen any animations recently that look hand drawn and weren't made in Japan, it was probably made in this. This is my most recent employer, Cartoon Saloon, uses this for their movies. So things like Song of the Sea and The Breadwinner was a recent one. They got a new one as well. I didn't work on that. I didn't work on any of the films. I did their TV shows. But it's not a thing that I use regularly, so I may struggle a little bit with some of the technical stuff. But it's nice for a very like pure hand-drawn animation experience. Like Flash, which is what Neko is using, is probably my main go-to tool, and that does kind of let you do a lot of cheating. So like I'm doing like it's just a horse just kind of floating through this little ISS looking place here, and that would be very easy to do in Flash because you can just kind of have the horse kind of moving while you tween it across. But I decided to make life difficult for myself.
Way to call me out for cheating.
It's not.
I'm just kidding.
Also calling himself out for cheating, to be fair.
Well, in a way, animation is cheating.
Oh yeah,
like,
if you're not cheating, you're
doing it wrong.
Dooming yourself to a lifetime of hard labor, which is
exactly what I do, because I pretty much only do frame by frame. So,
I mean, someone needs to.
Someone needs to do it.
you're the one who's gonna do that for us.
Yeah, Yuki, thank you. I'm putting profile pictures on the stream, so that it is possible as hell. I meant to do that before, but
Alrighty. One thing I'm currently doing. It's a pretty cool thing. I found out that I could use with Toon Boom. Basically, with the animation I have, the characters. Instead of having to, well, one of the things you can do is draw the shadow, and one of the things I can just isolate it now, and since it's puppet animation, just have the shadow that just follows the pieces, instead of having to draw it for each frame, or even do an offset lighting. So I have this matte now, which is just the red, to basically just have the shadow itself, and so I have the tint, which ready, and oh yeah, I'm gonna have to animate the tint because the lighting is variable in this shot. Actually, I'm stupid. It's supposed to be very red.
Have you done puppet animation before, Neko?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I started with actually.
Okay.
I only recently began doing frame by frame.
That's really
So I'm a lot more comfortable with puppet animation.
It's much easier to tackle because you don't have to worry about things like, for example, when you have characters that are off model. There's a lot of animators who are really worried about going off model. So
yeah, I mean, I was just about to make a joke about how if any of my previous supervisors who oversaw my my animation tests for Wolfwalkers would see me animating now, they would just be screaming about, it's like, watch your volumes, because this head is going to be going up and down in size all over the place, and that's just a thing that you don't have to worry about when you're doing puppet animation. Like I was talking about TV Paint being a very pure frame by frame experience, but puppet animation, it has its own purity because you can just concentrate on the motion.
That's true. Yeah, and that's why I decided to create my entire puppet in advance, so I wouldn't have to deal with that.
yeah. One of the things, though, a lot of people think that puppet animation is cheap because a lot of it is already pre-built pieces that you move around, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of what people call cheap are mostly the limitations of the software itself. For example, Flash is really bad at doing any transformation that is something else than translation, rotation, skewing, and scaling. If you want to have something with some, with MLP, they're pretty good at hiding it.
Really impressive with MLP, actually.
And they use a very outdated version of Flash as well.
Oh yeah, it's like CS3, isn't it? So that's
no.
No, are they using a Macromedia version?
No, Macromedia 8.
Yeah, they're using a Macromedia version, or at least they were.
Are you kidding me?
I am not.
I could have sworn it was CS3. Jesus, the Flash. That I've been.
I mean, to
told.
be fair, what did Adobe do with it after they acquired it? What features did they add? Do you even know?
Autosave.
A few things.
They added autosaves.
Oh yeah, that one was a blessing.
And the really funny thing is that every studio I've worked in has told me not to use the autosave because it runs the risk of corrupting the files on the server.
Oh.
So,
Which is kind of weird because the save is just doing a separate save for the.
I mean, I haven't used Flash in a studio, so it's been things like Moho and Toon Boom, and I guess it depends on the server architecture and like how it's all set up. So.
Makes sense.
Oh man, I did the rough for this animation a long time ago, and it's so like the art is so the anatomy is a little bit different from how I draw it now, and it's frustrating me. I was thinking
really
about.
interesting. Sorry.
Oh, no,
I
you go
started
ahead.
talking at the same time as you.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about starting something new today, but there was a little bit of a scheduling conflict, and I got stressed out and decided to work on this instead.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was that it was real interesting looking up like reference images for what I'm doing here, because it's probably not something you've necessarily noticed, but I was looking at pictures of like the inside of the International Space Station, and there is like actually like a bit of visual design going on that's really quite interesting. So like all of the pictures are oriented in such a way that there's this like bar of lights in the upper corners, and then they have this blue bar in the bottom corners. So it kind of, in an environment where there's no up, it creates an up and down, which is
Or at least
real neat.
an easy way to orient yourself.
Yeah. That and all of the handles here for moving yourself around are also like bright blue, so that you don't accidentally reach for a very expensive piece of research equipment or something and try to pull yourself along with it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily animation related, but it's just like a thing that I found out today. So I had a little topic list here, and it's okay. So, just a little bit of conversation fodder here. We're all animators of one stripe or another.
Yes.
Is there any upcoming animations, films, movies, whatever, that you are excited for or think that would be interesting to talk about?
It's pandemic season.
I mean, that was going to be one of my other topics.
There was that. What was that cartoon saloon thing that's coming out on Netflix at some point?
Netflix? I don't know.
I'm pretty much always excited for anything by Cartoon Saloon, which is kind of crazy because I didn't actually know at the time that I knew someone who'd worked there.
Well, the upcoming film is Wolfwalkers, and that's on Apple, I think.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Apple.
Yeah.
I for some reason I got them confused.
Yeah. It was because I didn't get the chance to work on it, but I did like try out for it, and I definitely like learned a lot in the process. I was working on one of their like shows for like Amazon, like one of the children's animation is like the majority of the animation industry. But yeah, it was real interesting, kind of just being in the same building as this movie being developed. And it's a very like local story as well. The like Tom Moore, he's a lot of his movies are kind of grounded in Irish mythology. So you got the what was it? Secret of Kells is it's about treasured national artifacts, the Book of Kells, which is just kind of sitting in the university where I went to. I'm making Ireland sound like a small town with like 30 people in it, and they all know each other by first name. But no, that's not intentional. But yeah, I remember like looking at some of the early previews of Wolfwalkers at like company meetups and stuff, where we would like show trailers to everyone, clue everyone in what's going on, and just seeing some of the work in progress stuff and being like, wow, I want to work on that. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to, but it looked really cool. Let's have a look at the chat. Someone say about MLP Media hitting Netflix. Do you happen to know what it is? Do we happen to know what it is?
Yeah, we.
Season 1 to 8 on Netflix in Canada. We don't have season 9 for some reason. Yeah, my mom was quite surprised when I told her that there was a season 9, and there was also. She was quite excited. I just slipped her some files for season 9, and she I think she cried. Feel a bit bad.
Aww.
But then again, it's season 9, so it's
Calling a boomer, but I'm still waiting for season 9 to release on DVD. I do not knock DVDs. I remember when I first moved to this apartment, my internet wasn't connected for like a week. It was a very productive week, but also I went to like the used electronics store and got like a bunch of DVDs for like £1 each, and I watched so many movies that week. Sweet Pony Production asks, favorite non-pony characters?
Oh,
I
that's a
assume
hard
you mean
one.
in MLP.
Like in the show?
Ocellus is probably my favorite.
I am definitely I'm definitely like loving Kieran's lately.
Oh yeah, and you can't not love Kieran's.
I think it's got to be Autumn Blaze for me.
That's almost a cop-out answer at this point.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really like catch the bug until like I made a Kieran character for like a role playing game, and now I have 2.
I did make a Kieran version of my OC once, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I actually haven't drawn very many Kierans. Like, I feel like it would be something that I would have drawn more of, but I don't think I've drawn very many.
Yeah, well, the weirdest part's that they're so interesting as characters, but we have literally 1 episode about them.
I mean, that's normal for MLP lore.
Yeah, MLP has a lot of good ideas that they cover for like an episode, and then fanfictions just come by. And let me find that. Actually, it's on my Twitter. Just could look it up.
People are saying they want to see Kieran Minty.
That sounds very cute.
Let's see. Where the hell is? Oh, so that's my. Forget. Keep in mind.
Oh yeah, Minties. Yeah, there we go. It's in the chat.
Oh. Yeah,
So
I kind of messed up the main a bit because I actually did the Kieran Minty before seeing the episode. I just saw the Kierans. I thought they were adorable.
You just use the hair straightener.
Oh no, it's the lack of basically the lack of beard.
Shaved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it would be kind of weird to have a girl with a beard. But they went with it anyway.
Yeah, I was having a lot of fun with like one of the space ponies that I made was a Kieran, so I'm just like amused at the idea of like a Kieran trying to fit into a spacesuit. So
Oh.
I have like this doodle of like the helmet, and the floof is just kind of filling the entire helmet.
That's amazing.
Female dwarves have beards, right? It's fine for Kieran's too, then. Who knows? Tolkien was definitely a very early 20th century writer in that regard.
I'm not to judge
in
me.
that I don't think we actually see any female dwarves in Lord of the Rings.
Did we not? I thought there were some.
I mean, maybe Peter Jackson put one in, but I don't know. I haven't actually read the book.
I mean, the only thing I saw The Hobbit 1 and 2 in theaters, and that's pretty much my entire experience with the whole franchise.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I didn't grow with them, so it's kind of weird to just go with them now.
Yeah, if you wanted, I mean, you should. Not if you want to do. You must do this. You must watch the three movies in the Lord of the Rings, because they're so much better than the Hobbit movies.
Oh yeah.
The Hobbit movies are not worth watching, honestly.
Yeah, the filmmaking was a bit weird. I remember there was one shot with the first one that looked like it was just shot on someone's iPhone in a doggy bag.
Oh god.
No, the problem actually one of the problems was they shot it in 48 FPS.
Oh,
yeah.
And then I watched it in
So
24.
weird.
They shot it in 48.
Stuff.
I watched it in 24, and like some of the panning shots were so jarring in 24 FPS that like I wanted to throw up.
Oh.
It was really bad.
You know
Because you
what
had to like
else,
pay extra for the 48 or something.
You know what else got the same problem? Gemini Man.
Oh yeah. Did they only
I
have...
remember like Dan Olsen doing a video about that. To explain a bit of the technical jargon for the audience.
And for me.
So most film is shot and played back in 24 frames per second. I'm doing this while also trying to figure out how to zoom out the time. It's done in 24 frames per second, which gives a film like a particular look, as contrast with, say, sports or news, which is usually done at 50 or 60 frames per second, depending on whether you're in North America or Europe. Animation,
so maybe even more.
Animation is usually done on 12 frames per second, which gives it a distinctive look again. But the thing about doing like films in 24 frames per second is that like there is an expectation that like your special effects will take this long to do. They will take this long to render. They will, need this level of precision. Because one of the neat things about doing animation in 12 frames per second is that you have, on top of like having half as many frames to do, like even if you are tweening, you have half as many frames to make sure there are no mistakes on, because the computer will not do the thinking for you, and sometimes like a foot will just be at a weird angle for a frame or something like that. And that is even just a problem with animating on 24 frames per second, or animating on ones, as it's called in the industry. But when you bump that up to 48 frames per second, not only does it take twice as long to render, you now have 48 slices of every second of your 9-hour trilogy of movies to make sure that there's no mistakes on them. And you've only got so many hours in the day, your budget is only so big, you know, things are gonna get, half baked or left on the cutting room floor. It's...
Yeah, but at the same time, with a frame rate like 48 or 60 FPS, it's way easier for a mistake on one frame to be completely unnoticed by the people watching and not only the people producing.
Yeah, but it's
true, but
I mean,
it's since you have more frames, you also have more opportunities to make mistakes. So you might have a mistake that appears for one frame, but the fact that you have to do 2.5 times more, you might have 2.5 times more mistakes that show up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I say a lot about animation is that you feel it as much as you see it, and your conscious mind isn't going to notice a mistake on one frame, but it might well feel it. So that's a thing. How the hell do I zoom in? No, that's in and out points. So yeah, that's 48 frames per second, and why I don't think it's a good look for mainstream cinema.
I haven't actually seen Gemini Man in 60. Has anyone else? Actually, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I think the movie flopped.
Yeah, it was basically a tech demo, wasn't it?
Yeah, the whole movie had an interesting premise, but just the fact that they had to do all that work at 60 FPS in HDR as well, and also make it work in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was saying
in standard in order to
a theme park ride rather than a movie.
Right. Yeah. Well, they had to get it to work in standard in order to sell any tickets.
Yeah.
The one thing that I hate, that I really don't like, is movies that have been shot in mono that are being played back in stereo 3D.
Oh yeah, actually I remember when I was working on Aquaman, the whole thing was shot in mono, and I was thinking, well, let's go see it in 3D, because why not? And it actually worked fine. It was one of the rare examples of movies that actually had a post-conversion that actually worked. I think part of it was the opening scene, because there's a lot of rain, and they managed to get the rain to separate properly, and just the depth added with it was just
okay.
Great.
That's fair, but most of the ones that I've seen that have been converted in post, they feel really fake, like they're like they just cut everything out and stuck it on a plane, and they're like, it's 3D now. I mean, it's more work than that, but that's just kind of what it feels like. Whereas movies that I've seen that were actually shot or rendered in stereo, it's like you can actually see the depth on someone's face versus just like, oh, they're cut out and like away from the background a little bit.
I remember seeing, I think it was Endgame in theaters with 3D, and there was a scene. I remember the hair just looked like textured hair on a 3D model because of that. It was really, really bad.
Oh,
yeah, it just breaks the immersion more than it helps it for me most of the time, unless it's actually like rendered or shot in stereo and the effects are all in stereo, which is not very common.
If you look, for example, at animated movies, you can afford to do that. And I can't really think of a single animated movie where they didn't just go with.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna like throw the floor open. Well, not throw the floor open, but I'm gonna nick a couple of questions from the chat. Yeah, there's been a few that have been waiting. So this one's been sitting for a few minutes. Best animation or art you guys have ever done. So, what's your favorite thing that you've worked on?
My favorite thing that I've worked on is probably the Solidarity map based on Prince. Oh, whoops, that's the stream screen. Is the Solidarity map that based on Prince Whatever's song Solidarity, which is a year old in a few days. It's a year old on October 10th, on the 10th anniversary of MLP. That's probably the favorite thing that I've worked on, but that was not like an artistic project for me in the sense that I was actually working on things, because I was mostly just working on the organization and getting everything to work together. As far as things that I've made goes, I don't even know if I have like a favorite thing that I've made that's just like was just me, was just a solo project.
As far as I think the most recent thing that I've worked on is usually my favorite thing that I've worked on.
Okay, that's fair.
like my thing that I put out this May is probably like my current favorite animation.
It's so good. I really love it.
I suppose on this topic, I heard some wisdom recently about it. I think it was Breadsword talking about Howl's Moving Castle, about the idea of what's your favorite movie is kind of a daunting question, but if it's like what's your favorite movie right now, that takes some of the pressure off, and you can respond a bit more to your current mood. So, like, sometimes I will have, times when it's just like, yeah, Spitfire's Day Off is a little bit old and it's a little bit, everywhere, but it's, it hits a spot,
Yeah, right. So I think my favorite painting that I've done right now, aside from animation, which is a little bit harder to, and Windows is... okay, so my favorite painting that I've done is probably this one that I'm in the middle of working on, that I'm showing on stream. As far as animation goes, it's a little bit harder to answer that question, I think, because I don't have a ton of stuff that's produced all the way through. I think the thing that I'm working on right now, which I can't show on this stream, is probably my favorite animation project.
Fair enough. Minty or Neko, you have a favorite thing?
I think my favorite is also my most recent project, which is it's very short. It's just a short frame-by-frame animation I did set to a song. You can find it on my Twitter if you're interested. Maybe after the panel I'll link it into
It's on your
Discord.
YouTube as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's on my YouTube as well.
It's quite cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I worked so hard on it, and then for just those 30 seconds.
I don't know. I could have because you mentioned that it's one of your first animations or something.
Well, my first
frame by frame.
Frame by frame that wasn't cheap, or cheap, big quotation marks.
Yeah, but I had a hard time believing this is just surely she's done this before.
Well, I mean, I think it's my first in the sense that it's my first decently length one. I've done blinks and lip syncing, though I never put it all together before. So maybe first is a bit of an exaggeration, but it was
well, I mean, milestones and stuff.
It felt like my first one that I felt was I could legitimately call a frame by frame animation.
Minty?
It's probably a tie between Luna's Determination and The Fall of Sunset Shimmer. I think The Fall of Sunset Shimmer is better in terms of technical stuff, just because of how much of an improvement it was in Luna's Determination. But Luna's Determination just hit more in terms of story and in terms of just music. So
Luna's Determination is in my opinion, is a lot more stylistically cohesive, I think. But
the color palette, one of the things I did back then, I really wanted to go with blue tones, and just the happy stuff would have some gold. So Luna, well, she's already blue. The castle is at night, so it's already blue. Star Swirl, I had to do some changes because I wanted him to fit a bit better with the rest of the tone, so he was also very blue. You had the winter tones, which mostly were blue, but some kind of there was some pink as well. But the bell was gold, and it needed to look gold. And there was that one moment where she just loses her hope. The bell, I cheated a bit. It just turned silver, and it really helped to just make it feel a bit better. It also helped that the story was told mostly linearly, it's one scene after the next. While The Fall of Sunset Shimmer, there was a lot of cutscenes where you just implied some stuff happened. So yeah.
Got a small pile up of questions. Let's see. Why are all of you guys so animated? Ah, very funny, Pirate Dash.
Oh. Hi, TJ.
Hello. Who or what inspired you to start animating?
That's a good question.
One.
That's a good one.
Yeah, my answer for that is simple, and it's also awful.
Homestuck.
My answer is also
Okay,
simple, and I don't know if it's as awful. MLP fan animations, and in a large part, CaptainHoers and Minty Root's earlier animations were definitely huge inspirations for me.
I mean, that's more of like a community thing, which like that's definitely more wholesome than I'm just into a really impenetrable comic.
No, because I was really intrigued by the different styles that everyone was bringing to the table and stuff, and it was like right when I got into the MLP fandom. I think this was about 5 years ago now. Like, one of the first things I tried doing was animating, and I was awful at it, but I was really inspired by everyone's work.
Neat.
So yeah, and now I've done like some professional stuff, so it's been a journey, and it all started here.
I was definitely inspired by fan animations too, notably CaptainHoers. And I know you can tell because I'm using lineless puppets. Also, Jan animations in his music videos and stuff. Those are actually some of the first MLP content I ever came across was his ass blogs. And I was like, oh, I need to do this.
I want to say Children of the Night because of how it looked and how it felt. The actual answer is Dusk Dawn. I just looked at it and just thinking, okay, it's something I can do. It's not too hard. It's not taking, it's something to start with.
Right.
Dusk Dawn.
Yeah. It's still hilarious to watch. It's funnier than Double Rainbow, so...
It is. The wind is so hard and pushing.
I'm clearly not fully aware of this.
Sorry, it's...
You haven't seen
The wind is quite hard than pushing.
The wind is quite hard and pushing.
Must be a cat.
Please. I'm way too evil for that.
Oh my god. I'm turning 9 tonight.
Okay.
Illusions can do it.
Oh, I have been doing these on the wrong number of frames. Okay.
Also, I just realized that I only have one wing on her.
The show does that on the regular basis because having 2 wings is visually cluttering and disrupts the silhouette.
Cool. And no, I'm not adding another.
Worst case scenario, you can always do it with darker blue behind, kind of like you did with the back legs.
Someone asked,
it would probably contrast.
do you think that you will keep doing MLP
or
for
it's
the
the
years to come?
alternate universe where Dashy just lost their wings?
Yeah, cupcakes.
No, I meant the one from the Cutie Remark.
Oh.
Although I think it's the other one she lost.
It happened in the Discord one. Let's see. We've got more questions.
The
This is
question
kind of
that
related questions.
I just read was, do you think that you will all keep doing MLP for years to come? MLP fan content.
I mean, that's kind of related to the question above about, like, did anyone have moments of ceasing related works and then find a spark to keep going? So it's like the general subject of, how involved, in this particular community and subject material we feel.
For me, it's I haven't had a reason to not make MLP fan work, and it's not like I don't enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it, and I see a lot of people that don't really enjoy it, but they feel like trapped by an audience or something. But in my case, I really do enjoy doing MLP fan content, and I as far as I can tell, I'm probably never gonna stop drawing ponies. it's probably more going to be the case that I finally find something else that I also want to draw in addition.
Yeah, I mean, having moved from community to community in the past, like, I used to be in the Sonic fandom. That was a trip, let me tell you. But you know, even like long after my attachment to that had faded away, I didn't really like get the bug to really, you know, move and do something else until something more interesting came along, which was ponies. Because I suppose the idea of community as a really important thing is something that has been on my mind a lot lately. And yeah, it's just nice having a broader community that is, you know, has a common thing. I'm definitely deep into platitudes at this point. Yeah, community good. And I think that's probably the more important reason that most people work on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Community good. And honestly, I'm just gonna keep on doing whatever I'm interested in, and right now it's still this. It's been this for a lot of years now, and it'll probably just keep being this until it's not anymore.
Yep. Same. It's probably just gonna keep being this for, I don't know, 5-10 years? I have no idea. But this is what I've been enjoying.
I had a moment where I wanted to give up back around 2016. Like I really didn't know if I still had the touch to make some stuff I was proud of. It took me a while, but you know, I think I finally found back that touch, and I finally found that inspiration to continue.
I know I've definitely like had that feeling of like it's like, yeah, I've done some horses for a while, maybe I should do something else, and I've tried to come up with other projects, and it's always like been a little bit forced if I'm, you know, if the time isn't quite right, and then I just like come up with another horse blog, and oh no, now I'm running my fourth horse blog.
You think you're gonna leave, but you end up starting another blog.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to follow what's natural. Because I have seen, you know, people who, you know, made their horse fame, and then they've had to try really, really, really hard to try and turn that into doing something else. And not all of them have succeeded. So, I suppose at the end of the day, if it happens, it happens. You just kind of it's kind of a thing where you just kind of have to go with the flow.
Well, I do have plans for original ideas as well, because let's face it.
So do I.
At some point, we might get tired of ponies. Like, that's saying like in 2 years. I'm saying like 20 years. Like, it's not exactly that pony is getting worse. It's just that, you know, eventually we'll probably run out of ideas. And
I mean, communities cycle, and it's just a natural thing.
But you also have stuff like G5. Maybe G5 is going to be amazing. Maybe it's going to be mainstream trash. But
yeah, I mean, I have not been paying attention to G5 at all, and I kind of don't care.
I still have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, it's a mystery.
So, Icy Justice says, well, thank you. I hope even if you ever stop with MLP art, you never forget the magic that it brought, and it'll always be a nice spot for you in your heart. I know that's not the case with like everyone, but it is always nice to see that, like, you know, when someone clearly really enjoyed something, that like even later on they still, you know, that it doesn't leave a bad taste. It is kind of sad to see people just no longer finding joy in something they once did.
What was I gonna say about this? Oh, I have the only other quote-unquote non-pony project that I'm working on right now involves very MLP-esque ponies. So like I haven't even been able to escape, even if I'm escaping like actual MLP lore. Like it's outside of the MLP universe, but the main characters are all very MLP-esque ponies. Because I just love working with the forms and stuff. And originally the project was supposed to have human characters, or at least humanoid characters in it instead. And then it wasn't fun for me, so I just decided to make it ponies. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, I love this.
It's a secret ingredient.
Exactly. It totally is.
Hasbro just allows us to make pony stuff that's outside of the MLP universe, and we're just fine with that. Would be nice.
Yeah, and it doesn't if I ever produce anything involving this idea, it's not actually tied to MLP at all. So like there is a little bit of a potential beyond that. Like technically, it's just it may have been where I got the inspiration, but it's not like legally tied to it or anything like that.
I mean, ponies taught me a lot about writing as well as art and stuff. So it's you're still going to be feeling that kind of effect in anything that I write afterwards. Like two like non-pony projects that are kind of waiting in the wings for time and attention to be given to them. One of them has a very kind of MLP like cast calculus and just kind of a world building sensibility that's very similar to how I things I liked about the season 1 world building of just this kind of mystical world with a lot of unknowns. And the other project, well, the main character, try as I might, she's just kind of Spitfire.
It's fine. We won't say anything.
Why?
She may be human and she may be like a racing pilot, but she's still just kind of Spitfire. It's almost like I have themes that I keep returning to in my writing. Other questions. Have you seen any animated memes on YouTube or Twitter that you'd try making something for? That's a very whim kind of thing. Like, I'll either make it in 5 minutes after seeing it or not at all.
Yeah, totally. Like, this doesn't even count as a meme, but actually I guess technically it's a meme, it's just not an animation meme. The last thing I did like that was I did a pony version of the Siren Head meme. Which was like a lot of fun, but I also did it, it's very sad because as is tradition with online media, I spent like 30 minutes on it and it's the most liked and seen tweet I've ever tweeted.
Naturally.
I mean, to be fair, I do think it's good and I do think it's funny and I do think I did a good job with it, but also like it's pretty simple, so it did not take me very long.
Yeah, that kind of thing is complete alchemy, and there is no way to predict what will be popular.
I've never seen an animation meme and made it, though I have that animation that I did do is very animation meme-esque, I'll admit.
Yeah, it definitely is.
More of a lip sync. When I think animation memes, I think the muffled caramel dancing thing.
Oh yeah, I guess that.
Which I've made a few of those, but they've mostly just been for my RPG.
Here, I'm gonna pull up my pony Siren Head. Oh come on! Why did the window? Oh, it's on the. Stop putting things on my stream monitor, covering up other people. Okay. And you can't see it because I switched from... Never mind, it's fine. Oh well. You can find it on my Twitter, I guess.
It's somewhere. Um, Going down the list. What do you think about an episode called 246 Great? This is one of the biggest continuity issues the show has ever did. What episode was that?
That was the episode when Rainbow Dash was teaching the students how to be cheerleaders, or at least was told to teach them how to be cheerleaders.
All right.
I think she was just having a bad day. I don't know.
I don't remember that episode, but I guess I'll give an opinion anyway because continuity specifically was mentioned, and I do not care about continuity at all. I mean, some amount of continuity is necessary for life.
When it comes to MLP and media that's like in the same vein, continuity is not that important in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, like having worked on kids TV, like there is definitely like continuity checking for like the scene making physical sense. So like,
you definitely like
props
the layout
aren't going to disappear and they're
layout design.
Definitely. Yeah, they're going to be like quite fastidious about that kind of thing. But when it comes to character writing, hey, that's not the animator's fault. That's the writers. Like when you're animating on a kids' TV show, you are not in charge of any writing decisions. You have your storyboard and you animate to the board. And maybe if the supervisors like any innovations that you bring, you can be allowed to keep them. But sometimes I'll just like I'd have blocked something out, and the supervisor is just like, yeah, that's cool and all, but that's not what's on the board. Please stick to the board. So yeah, the budget and schedule on kids TV is so compacted that I just can't bring myself to care at all about continuity errors in MLP.
The fact that there's continuity in the show that much is quite impressive. Like, if you look, for example, at season 1 and mostly season 2, doesn't really rely on continuity that much. Like the first episode, the first 2 episodes just set the tone, the mood, and set up some some history for the whole world, but that's pretty much it. Just the fact that in season 3 they decided to build upon what they had and continue adapt is quite impressive for me. I think I'm pretty happy that it actually drove other cartoons to also follow, instead of just having characters who do stuff and nothing else matters. Just the change in locations, the change in for example, meeting new characters, meeting back old characters, and just acknowledging that you've met those characters.
Right. No, continuity is a huge thing in MLP, but it's not a huge thing in the sense that I would have preferred if that episode was written with the context of like a season 9 Rainbow Dash.
Oh yeah.
But like it doesn't in the grand scheme of things, like you could remove that episode from the canon and it wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah. So, it's like, not everything can have the rigor of
the finales or whatever.
Say Gravity Falls has.
Oh, sure. That too.
What, 2 seasons?
Yeah, well, I mean, that is, even within those 2 seasons, when you compare it to like 2 seasons of Friendship is Magic, Friendship is Magic is a very episodic show, and you kind of really need to be able to just pick things up from the moment that you turn on the TV, because you're 7 years old and you only have half an hour on the TV before you have to go and do your homework. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
New episodes of LP are on weekends. Who the hell do homework on weekends?
That will depend on your country. I can, I funnily enough, I can show you an example of the kind of continuity errors that would be pointed out to me by my supervisor, because I've just gone and made one by accident, by not paying attention. So it's made
better hire a layout
bit
artist.
Of instructing. So here we have the Space Horse, and they are flapping through the module, and then they go to the laptop, have a look at it, notice that it's Donna Summer's Hot Stuff playing because it's a Martian reference, and then they scoot away. Now, watch the... oh, no, I've selected the... Where's the... There we go. Now, watch the arm. I say arm, even though it's a hoof. The one that is holding on
foreleg.
To the bar over here. So, like, this one in the top right. So it's their, like, left arm here, and then it's the left arm is the one that's, like, behind over here. So when they're spinning around, they should be, we see the left arm going up here to the rail, but then on this in between, I forget what I'm doing, and it's the right hoof that is reaching for the rail, and so it's that is the kind of thing that would be picked up because it's it is straight up. This is a thing that is physically impossible and will just break the animation. So, whoopsie! I have to do this frame again.
Sure, it's a mistake we almost did in Good Morning Baltimore until I pointed out to PD. There's that moment where you have... Actually, I can bring up Good Morning Baltimore. I have it somewhere. Computer, please. There we go. So, seriously, the hard drive just stopped. Alright, animations, Good Morning Baltimore. Alright, so there's a scene, so you have main event who sings, I got my clipboard and radio, I'm ready to go. And we were animating it, and I pointed out to PD, she got her clipboard, but not her radio. It's not in the storyboard. What do we do? And I just thought for a second, okay, what can we do? And I just thought, well, let's put a just earpiece in her head, and just go with it, like it's drawn in, and that's it. We just went with it. It doesn't show in any other shot.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you do have to just, like, make, weird calls like that, especially if you're on a schedule. It's just like, yeah, we don't have time to make this look absolutely perfect. We just got, sometimes I don't understand the decisions that they make and why they make them. Sometimes they're for standards reasons. Obviously, it wouldn't apply to Good Morning Baltimore there as well, but, like, I have had situations where the whole blocking of a shot has had to be changed from the board because for kids' TV, we're not allowed to show the kids walking on the road. They have to be on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And the show so much time, like. MLP gets away with so much by virtue of being magical ponies because, I mean, for one thing, flying characters, you don't have to...
It's TVY in America.
Cycles.
Like, I don't understand.
Sorry?
I was gonna say, it's TVY in America. I don't understand how they get away with, like, the T-Rex fight, but fantasy, I guess.
Well, I'm more talking on, like, a technical level because... for one thing, flying characters, they don't have contact points.
So, yeah.
The walking animation is just that little bit easier to make tidy and safe. The other thing is that they don't have cars. If a character is entering a car in a TVY program, they must put on their seatbelt. This is not negotiable. So much time of the 2 shows that I worked on was just devoted to seatbelt animation.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it reminds me, there was an anime, I think it was Digimon, where they painted over seat belts for the American release.
Oh, and another thing with Digimon is there's a part where they they hitchhike in the Japanese version, though in the American version, I believe they put in some line like, "Oh, thank God your cousin was here to pick us up."
I mean, 4Kids definitely like took this to an extreme.
Well, I can't really blame them because you don't want to teach kids to hitchhike.
I mean, yeah, well, there's the way they did it, and just other weird localizations. Like, it's just like, hey, eat your, like, sure love these jelly donuts, and he's just clearly eating like, rice balls.
Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
Know what a rice ball is, right? Like, at least, they know what rice is, they know what a ball is. Rice ball? Rice ball?
Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
Much for them.
Oh, this has been a little bit of a ramble. What is one thing you would say to your younger self still learning to animate?
I am my younger self, and I am still learning to animate.
I mean, I don't know. Ask Honey Badger, the person who asked the question.
Hey, younger Minty, don't do a 22-minute long animation on your own. You will fail.
Okay, I would tell myself to not go straight into trying to produce something that was supposed to be like MLP show quality, with like, I made the bad decision of deciding that the first thing that I was going to produce was a project that was already in production and just didn't have any animators. Just like all the animators had other projects to work on. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. And guess what? That project never got finished. Like half of it is animated. I got like halfway through, and then I took a break, and I was watching it again like a week later, and I was like, this is horrible. Bad decision. I should have gone with the basics first, because I had literally done nothing before.
I think I would probably tell myself to like, because I took a break. I stopped animating for a long time, and I'd probably tell myself, keep going, don't stop, keep going, and I probably would have been better than I am now.
Yeah, I think I don't want to sound arrogant when I say that like the first thing springing to mind is like patting myself on the back for investing in Adobe CS6 right before they made the switch to CC. That was good timing. Good job past me. Because that CC, it's all downhill from there. I don't know. It's difficult to point out like a point where I'd asked to if wishing I'd done something differently, because from all those mistakes I've like learned something, and it's like, well, if I don't make this mistake, then I don't get this opportunity, and it's really hard to pick.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, mistakes are... I know it's super cliche at this point, but the mistakes are really valuable for learning.
I tell myself to get on Dusk's Dawn while I can.
You didn't actually work on it, did you?
No. Oh my god, imagine.
Some people thought
I mean, that would have been so cool.
I didn't know one guy who worked on it, and yeah, he told me that he did a big part of it because they didn't have a lot of animators. Yeah, it's one of those things where you aim for something really big, because as you see it was meant to be a big episode, like it was 20 minutes long. I think they had 6 months to do the whole thing. So, and they used a lot of work from, well, they used the rigs from Double Rainbow. And yeah, it shows. It's one of the things when you do a project and you have very high hopes.
There's no way they use the rigs from Double Rainbow. Like, the face shapes literally just look like Pony Creator shapes.
They do. I think they did the designs for the characters in Pony Creator and just vectored the mains from Pony Creator. So, and the problem what you get when you vector a fan vector is that you kind of you basically iterate on mistakes, like you make the mistakes that you did on someone else's mistakes. Like the pony creator is a pretty good tool, but the vector itself, the vector quality is okay. Like part of it is because the ponies had to be scaled, because some people really wanted tall ponies, so the legs are kind of off. The manes, they needed to change colors, so you had the colors were a bit weird. The outlines were kind of weirdly tapered. I think it was also because of sizing. So yeah, it's not perfect. It's pretty good to just, you know, make up an idea for a character, like you want this color for the coat, this color for the mane, this cutie mark, and just say, yeah, let's do something better. But when you find out that all the main styles that they had for all the characters were from Pony Creator, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because you can see, right, because you can see the, it's been a long time, but one of my first impressions watching it was that the mouth shapes and everything are also right from Pony Creator. So even if they're using the body rigs from Double Rainbow, they also use the mouth shapes from Pony Creator.
Yeah. It's,
Are we almost out of time?
No, we actually still have 20 minutes.
According to the schedule, I thought we had an hour and a half.
Yeah, we have another 20
man.
minutes.
I thought we only had an hour.
Yeah, I mean, if we only had an hour, they'd have kicked us off, like, 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, the time over. Oh.
Anyway, in light of that, let's have another quick look at some of the questions, because there's a couple more that haven't turned up. Are there any favorite moments in MLP where the animations just blew you away?
Thinking of the fight between Celestia and Nightmare Moon, you know the scene where you see the pedestal? Actually, I have the scene somewhere. Season 4, episode. Or is episode 2? There we go. I hope I don't get in trouble for streaming that, but there's that one scene. So there's already a big fight scene that you have between the two characters that is pretty epic. Like, it's not to the level of T-Rex, but just the change, for example, the change in focus between the two characters here, the lighting. And you have this scene where you have the pedestal. That's 3D animation right here. And you can tell if you zoom in. Actually, I have a weird thing to zoom. Yeah, you basically see a bit the sharpness. It's kind of weird compared to vectors. You see some weird outlines. It's even more obvious in one of the other shots because they just took the render and they had to scale it. And you also see all the polygons and the weird artifacts. But, you know, on a TV it looks fine. Criticizing a bit too much because I'm watching a 4K monitor. But you have Celestia, who just turns.
Stuff that, you know, when you get trained for this kind of thing, you just see it everywhere, and it's difficult to turn your brain off and just enjoy things despite their flaws.
Yeah, actually, no, this shot here is the worst case. You see the pixels even on the... Yeah,
it's Photoshop, you can see the pixels.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because the outlines are really crisp on the crystals, but the fill is pixelated. But at the time I was amazed, like they would go into the whole 3D model and integrate it. And you already had the shot with some really cinematic angles. And keep in mind, this is a software from 2005. Like, if you can make something that badass and an outdated software, there's no excuse.
Yeah, tools are.
Tools they're less important than people think.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the tools themselves, it's how you use them. Like, we rant a lot about how Flash is bad and all, but the reason Flash is bad is, well, a lot of things, just that for what it's worth, it's way too expensive for what Adobe thinks is... but, you know, it can do some really good stuff. The crew behind MLP, it didn't just use Flash, like... they also use stuff like After Effects, like the glow and the compositing. It's basically just taking layers of Flash animation and just importing them in After Effects and then doing the effects. But it shows that you can do that. Like, if they can do that, we can do that. Like, the software is available.
It's
Like, I do go with something a bit fancier with After Effects, with that kind of lighting and all, but that's to compensate for my more limited animation skills.
I mean, as far as like being visually impressed by the show goes, I think the one I keep coming back to is the episode that's basically a Christmas Carol. Like, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one's...
Like, it's the like all the, like, you know, technical wizardry in the world means nothing without like good visual design, and that's just an episode that is a joy to look at, and it has the budget to pull it off. Like, it's like a thing I do frequently on the holidays is I'll, like, you know, stream for my friends, you know, two of my favorite holiday episodes, which is that one and then like the first one. And you can, like, see the drastic difference in, like, you know, visual quality between them, because you can tell, like, the budget has gone up and, like, their library of things they can reuse has gone up, so they're spending less time on just, like, random walk cycles and stuff.
Especially when it comes to the facial animation, that got so much more life in the later seasons, and it adds a ton to the show, because that's a lot of what the show is about.
It's a bit cartoony, like some of the expressions are meme-worthy.
Yeah,
but...
I do feel like some of them have gone, like, a little bit hard.
Yeah, some of them, they seem to be kind of almost like baiting for it.
Yeah.
Definitely, but on the whole, I think
you know,
it's
you
positive.
look at that, you cannot think that it's a lazy show just because it's done in Flash. You look at all those expressions, all those...
And, like, this is like a bias that exists in the industry itself. Like, animation that is kind of wooden will be described as flashy. Like, not like flashy as in like Flash.
Like Flash. Two different words. Two different...
I've seen that being said, and I found out that the animation of some of those shows was not Flash, like stuff like Toon Boom. I remember there was a reviewer who reviews a lot of cartoons and got known for reviewing cartoons, and yeah, actually, I don't want to call out names, but the mysterious Mr. Enter, I think he didn't really understand the whole concept of Flash. He just thinks it's about moving very complex shapes. So he would just attribute characters with very simple, very simple anatomies, very simple designs as lazy because they use very simple shapes.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, and sometimes would look at traditional animation that has those very, very simple concepts and still call it Flash animation, which,
that's
yeah.
Just, you know, a sanity preservation measure for the animators. Oh, in fact,
Mickey
like,
Mouse
you know,
is so flashy.
It's like flipping, like, you'd think puppets would allow people to get away with, like, you know, more complex character designs because you have to do less of it yourself.
Well, in some cases, there is that. Like, some shows I've seen have very illustration-like characters, but the motion is just really simple.
Yeah. Look at Archer. It looks very detailed, but the characters barely move. So
Yeah, I mean, it gets into like anime.
yeah, well, anime is a very weird case. Like you have shows
compared
that
to Western
have
animation, it is very different.
Yeah,
in terms
well,
of,
you
like,
have shows that have like 200 episodes and they go with very, very limited animation, and they have those Sakuga moments.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every show is going to have like they will divide their time and budget and human resources as well, accordingly. So the interns get put on the talking heads that nobody cares about, and Johnny animator guy who's been working on every film ever made since 1991 gets to make the really cool and fancy expensive shot.
The Sakuga. Yeah.
You can either go with very, very even quality for the animation for everything, which is you're gonna look at it and you're gonna think that it's just okay, or you could have some shots that are just okay, where you just have a character talking, and then you have those really good moments and people remember those moments. Then they say that it's really great animation at that show, and you just show a 10 seconds clip. Yeah, you gotta understand where to put your budget, and a lot of people thinking of big studios where they have massive budgets, they just put budget everywhere. So,
I mean, budget essentially equates to people, because you can throw all the money in the world at a computer screen and it will not do anything unless there is someone there who you are paying to make the animation happen.
Yep.
The look good button is not directly money powered; it's only indirectly money powered.
Yeah. Well, the look good button is to put bloom over everything.
Sorry.
I was gonna say Minty would say that.
Honey Badger asks, is there an animator outside of the fandom that you looked up to?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a good question, and I can't answer it because the answer is I look up to every animator.
Oh yeah, that's my answer too.
Oh, that's such a terrible answer.
It's a terrible answer, but honestly,
very
like
lazy.
anyone that has been animating for a while, especially for me in frame by frame stuff and just anything like that to me it's more about diversity than it is about like an individual, because if you can learn from a large number of people, then you can get a bunch of different ideas and techniques and incorporate them into your style and workflow.
I mean, there's like a few that I guess I would have like paid some attention to, more so than others. Like, I kind of developed my style before, really getting familiar with the work of Genndy Tartakovsky, most notable for Samurai Jack, which is kind of unbelievable considering that I didn't see it as much as a kid, because I think I saw a lot more of like Dexter's Lab and stuff as a kid, but it has that like lineless, angular look that is just all over my work, and was definitely like all over my work a few years ago. I've kind of like rounded out a little bit since then. But since finding that similarity, every now and then I'll just like sit down and study how he constructs a scene, and how does he solve particular problems in animation? How does he do it? I think probably Hayao Miyazaki is probably the animator who has had the most influence on me, whose films I have never seen all the way through. I have never actually seen a Miyazaki film in more than like clips.
Yeah,
but
same.
There is like, but even those little clips are visually striking enough and like I can see what they're doing. That it's like it does make an impression. You know, the palettes and like this particularly like the way that he does water. It's like globby and sticky, and it's the way that water feels more than how it looks. And
adding on to that, he does these really amazing tears too that are pretty iconic.
Yeah. And it's like it, you know, kind of comes back to that thing that I was saying about, you know, feeling animation as much as you see it, because it is a kind of, you know, method of you know, rendering things in such a way that it gets at the emotional truth more than the.
Sorry, we're having technical problems.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay.
Oh wait, it's back. Okay, sorry. No, my computer decided to do some unknown thing.
Oh no.
It's back now, don't worry about it.
That would have been a pain.
Yeah. Well, 10 minutes before the end, but...
oh yeah, we are getting to 10 minutes before the end.
Yeah, actually 5 minutes, because we need to end 5 minutes early.
Oh yes, that's right.
Do y'all want to take the last 5 minutes to show what you've been working on?
I am...
Because I ended up starting something new, like, in the middle of the panel, so...
I'm gonna have to, like, finish this frame at least before I...
Okay. Minty, do you want to talk about what you've been working on?
So it's basically just a quick compositing for a shot. Basically what I had to do was to do all the layers to basically since basically out of Toon Boom, I get sure. I basically get this matte that is basically just plain color, this matte just to isolate the eyes, the outline, and a shadow matte that actually follows the character animation. So I had to combine all the layers together, doing some masking, doing some blurring, doing some color correction to get it to look like this, and then I animated one of the layers because the lighting was supposed to be a bit inconsistent. Then I added the background, which is very simple. It's the focus of the scenes only Celestia, so the background is blurry behind. Not too big of a deal. I added some snow, which is basically just a footage of snow that is just moving. I added some smoke in the back, and then I added the filtering that I have. It's basically just 3 layers of filter to make it look more cartoony and a bit more paint-like. It's basically smart blur, which is gonna blur the less contrasty stuff, and it's gonna sharpen the contrasty stuff. There's cartoon, which basically does something a bit similar, but it basically just does that in blocks. So things are gonna look more like outlines, and then LM smoother, which is just anti-aliasing. So you really see in the corners, for example here, it just feels a bit more paint-like than if I went just with the original plate.
Okay, can you take a pause and let
blur
Neko go?
lens
We've got 2
distort.
minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, the compositing really is just absolute wizardry, because, you know, you're just talking about all this really technical stuff, and it's just like, I just drew some horses.
But Neko and Horse, or we've got 2 minutes left, so go. If you want to explain what's been going on.
Do you
go ahead, Horse.
Oh, okay. Because in the time that Minty was talking, I actually did a whole other frame. Oops. Let me get the zoom right. Help. I don't use TV Paint very often. I just did this this horse, and they're floating through thing. I basically only got as far as like keys and breakdowns. So there's like the extreme positions of the animation, and then there's like the bits in the middle that guide the motion between those extreme points, and then getting on 2s for like the first half of it. So you can see that the wings, they flap nice and smoothly through the first half, and then once they get to the laptop, they're kind of stuck there. It could have been a lot worse. I think I'm only streaming in 15 frames per second, which... Oh wait, no.
Alright,
that
Neko?
will capture all of it. Okay. Okay.
So I have this pretty simple, just a little puppet. She just jumps up. Whoop. There's some stars.
Aww.
I mess. The wing animation's pretty stiff. Usually I do them a bit better. I was kind of like rushed it, but yeah, this is what I got.
And
She
I
jumps
just started. The first step I was in betweening another animation, but I just started this little animation with a pony jumping. The last few frames are like really quickly scribbled in, but that's what I was working on. Some of the timing's off, but you know, work in progress. All right, and I think that's it. We are done. I've been told time, so everyone have a great day. Thank you for coming to our panel.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Probably be in the lobby and talk to people. It's not like I can't really do other things. We're still in a pandemic.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and fly safe.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye, everyone.